Hey guys, it's Disciple here with a new series, Pros Play, where I spectate some of the top players in League of Legends and analyze what it is that makes them the best at what they do. Today we're going to be over in Korean solo queue spectating Faker. That's his account Hide on Bush there, but a lot of the accounts are in different characters that we can't quite see, so we're just going to refer to them by their champion names. I think Azir is a very complex champion and a very cool build designed by Daniel Z. Klein, but unfortunately he's seen in less than 2% of games at the moment, and he has a pretty low win rate at about 45%. One of the things about this series is that I will accompany each of these videos with a gameplay video of my own, where I try to incorporate some of the things that I learned from the pro players. I'm not one of the best players myself, but I think I can learn and improve and have fun. I'll play with friends and I think it'll be a good time. But these videos are going to be to learn. I want to see what he does in lane, when he looks to leave lane, things that he does around Dragon and Baron, and kind of generally how this high-level Korean solo queue is played. So right now we're going to see him drop his trinket over in the river. That can help him spot any invades, and then he's just going to go ahead and throw out his W, which is his first and only ability available at level 1, which spawns a soldier that can attack for him, and it gets attack speed based off of his own. He gets attack speed for cooldown reduction as his passive, and his soldier deals magic damage, and so it's a really interesting champion that builds AP and cooldown reduction, but does damage through auto attacks. The playstyle is pretty hard to compare to anyone. In lane, he can be a bit of a bully like you'll see right here. He can also farm very well, and then in the late game, he can get some insane damage and carry really hard because he scales very well. And I think we're actually going to see that. This replay is about 40 minutes long, and so I'm hoping to see Azir in the late game. Take a look over here at his masteries. He's running 21, 0, and 9. About what you'd expect. We saw him with these biscuits, which means that he does have that part of the utility tree. And in runes, he has magic penetration in his marks, flat ability power in his quints, scaling health in his seals, and then his glyphs are 5 scaling ability power and 4 scaling cooldown reduction. He is going to end up building a Morellonomicon and a Nashor's Tooth this game, which means that he will end up above 40% CDR, which is the max. He's able to go in here and just continue to put on so much damage onto Ahri in this lane. While farming pretty well, we can see he's about a wave ahead of Ahri. If she can clear most of these minions, then she'll catch up a little bit. But right now, he's poking so heavily. The gank comes in from Nidalee, and the flash charm comes in, but he's able to flash away, and there's not that much damage right now. I'm curious to see what he does get first. I believe Morellonomicon Rush is typically the way to go. And we can see right there, he gets the Fiendish Codex, as well as a Pink Ward, and he also swaps his trinket out for a sweeping lens. Nidalee on the other team has already done that, but on his team, he's the only one. This is a pretty insane poke comp here, but Azir can do not much of anything against the poke comp except try and poke back, which he's doing a great job at. Azir's ult is really amazing against an engage comp because he can push everyone back with his soldiers, and I'll go ahead and note that his Q moves all of his soldiers to a target location and deals damage. It's really great for burst, and of course you need it to reposition your soldiers so they can keep auto-attacking. And then his E pulls him towards a targeted soldier, so it makes for a really nice dash. You usually W, then Q to move your soldier, then E to dash to it. And your dash will deal damage, knock up slightly, and give you a small shield if you connect with an enemy champion. Ahri's going to grab the blue, but it looks like Faker's not quite going to get that luxury just yet. Both junglers started on the bottom side of the map, which means that the blue has yet to respawn. But it looks like Faker doesn't really need it right now. With the Doran's Ring, as well as just not needing to use his abilities that often, he's able to just continue to push out this lane. Using Q and W themselves isn't really that much mana unless you spam them on cooldown, but you can see right there, the W isn't very intensive itself. I'm actually a little curious about what those exact costs are, but it's 40 for the W, 70 for the Q, 60 for the E, and then 100 for his ultimate. And his ultimate, again, summons a wall of soldiers, pushes everything back, and makes it so the enemy team has to go around it or flash over it. They can't dive through it or else they'll get pushed right back. Faker's done a really great job of just focusing on nothing more than CS. He's at about 72 here, coming up on 10 minutes, and it looks like he might be able to bring that number up closer to 80, which is an excellent number for solid baseline. There are definitely some minions that he missed and a couple waves that he wasn't there for, but overall he's in a pretty good spot. Now if we take a look at this Ahri, she's really afraid of staying in the lane too long, partially because Faker has done some great poke damage on her, and also because Lee Sin is always a threat, and if he can get a nice kick back on Ahri, then she might get bursted down before she has much time for a Spirit Rush. Faker is going to grab the blue buff and head right back to doing what he does best, and keep on poking on. That's the biggest thing here. He's going to zone out Ahri so that she has to run around the soldier, and if she runs into the soldier, he can just easily deal some damage with the Q and an auto, and send her back to base. That's the blue buff worn out, with Ahri not using it for anything except for some mild farming. We already have the Morellonomicon coming out from Faker, as well as a Sight Ward, and he's going to continue that vision advantage we've seen. The Sweeping Lens and the Pink Ward did a really great job of keeping this bottom bush clear, which meant that he was free to walk around on the bottom side of this map without being afraid of Nidalee. He's already right back in lane. He was able to time that back perfectly so that he didn't miss any minions. He did miss his E though on that last hit, which means that he's about 20 gold poorer. Ahri stays consistently low here, and that's a really big key. Azir early on doesn't have a lot of bursts in his kit. His damage isn't that high, and it's hard to get off many auto attacks early on, so what you really have to rely on is keeping your enemy low so that when it comes down to the fight, all the damage you can do is enough. Now Faker can just push this turret for days. Ahri feels scared about hanging around and defending, but she knows that she can't lose it, since that's going to be a huge amount of gold over to the blue team early on. Right now they have about a 1,000 gold advantage, but this turret is going to push them over the edge. Using the burst from his W and his auto attacks, he brings them up to 2k ahead. And that's just going to be a really, really solid advantage. Right now both teams are curious about Dragon. Now it's about 14 minutes and 20 seconds in, and neither team has attempted it yet, which is really surprising since so many junglers are able to do it very early, even before level 6, that a lot of dragons will be snuck before 10 minutes. So we can see Faker's bought a Stinger second. That's going to be half of an item, you know. Oh, going right in here onto the Nidalee with so much damage, and it looks like Lee Sin's going to be able to continue on, slow him down, and allow for Azir to get on with the Q. With another Q onto the Maokai, that's an enormous amount of burst damage, and with the autos, he doesn't quite get the Maokai, has to flash for it, but he still has 3 soldiers up, Q's onto the Ahri, and is finally going to retreat only after Rumble shows up. That just shows how powerful Azir can be in an extended fight, and even though they lost the Lee Sin, he was able to just apply consistent damage to the team. Ahri really has to be careful since he can continue to attack from a long range. Oh, Faker's able to go in and use that ult to push back the Maokai, making it very difficult for him to escape, and that's going to be enough to keep the red team off of this dragon. The first dragon of the game finally going down, and we could see some really great objective control from Azir. If you look at other ability power champions like Kale, oh my goodness, once again, the dash in, the wall back, and that is a Maokai down. This time the kill going to Lee Sin. And an amazing Rumble ultimate breaks apart this blue team. This might be Faker's first death of the game. Rumble wants him. The stun from Cassiopeia is there. He stays alive long enough to take the Rumble, but Ahri does go in for the double kill. Now Cassiopeia wants some revenge, is able to land the poison again and again, but these are 3 members of the red team, and it looks like she has to go back. Graves come in from behind, lands the collateral damage. That is Nidalee going down, and Ezreal trying to poke on from the side. This may be the last we've seen of this fight, as both sides really look to fall back. Ahri and Cassiopeia have got to be scared of dying. They don't want to give up a silly death due to overstaying, which is admittedly one of my biggest weaknesses. One of the things to note about these Korean Diamond teams is the vision control that they have, especially around the river area. We can see several pink wards placed throughout the game, many wards here throughout the boss side of the jungle for the blue team, which is ahead, as well as 3 sweeping trinkets on both teams. It's worth noting that only 1 member has been able to upgrade their trinket so far, that's Lee Sin here, and it's proven instrumental in denying vision from the red team using that Oracle's passive you get after you sweep for the wards. Now we're going to see the blue team members try and claim this vision advantage all around the river as Ahri flashes in for the charm. Cassiopeia tries to turn around with the petrifying gaze, but it looks like Maokai is able to latch onto her for long enough. That is a Cassiopeia down, and a blue team looking like they might receive some unwelcome pressure on this turret. The long-range spear from Nidalee is able to bring Azir down quite heavily, and all of this poke from Maokai and Rumble means he has to recall here. The flash spear from Curious Pop doesn't quite reach him as he continues to recall. A pretty good bait, but also fairly risky. I would say the mechanics of Faker are good enough to assure that he could dodge that spear. But he does have to give up this turret, since staying around on low health would have just been a death sentence despite the lack of threshes in this game. Now we're going to see Red Team actually evening up that turret advantage. It's 7-7, 2-2, but because of the excellent farming on multiple members' parts, notably Cassiopeia and Azir, they're still 2,000 gold ahead. With this advantage, they're able to take the dragon fairly easily. That is the second dragon here, which means they are stacking up to that all-important 5th dragon buff. But the buffs along the way are also fairly powerful as well. Although we haven't commented on it for a while, Faker has been farming like a madman. 257, now 58 CS in a 26-minute game means he is almost above 10 CS per minute, which is a perfect score if you want to have a really, really good game as a carry, especially a late game carry, which needs items heavily. You can see he's gone from this Morellonomicon into a Stinger, into a Rabadon's Death Cap, which just not only increases the DPS from your autos on the soldiers, but also gives you a good amount of burst on your Q and your E. Both teams are lining up now around the river, and it looks like this could be a rather large fight. Maokai's going to go in, aided by the Rumble ultimate. Azir's able to grab the kill onto the Maokai, but his team has split up, and it looks like they're starting to fall down. It looks like most of the blue team has rushed over here, and Faker is already applying some massive DPS with those soldiers. Being able to attack constantly means that they can do such insane damage here. Nidalee throws the spear, but it's not enough. Azir is the one who grabs the last hit. Faker taking down the Baron for his team, and I think a dragon for a Baron is a trade that they are willing to take any day of the week. Faker's next two items are the Home Guard enchantment on his boots, as well as the Seeker's Arm Guard, going to build that into Azanya's Hourglass, and against the potential engage coming from Maokai and Rumble combined, that could be really powerful in turning around a fight. With Faker at 527 ability power after that Baron buff has expired, it means that each one of his soldiers is going to do almost 500 damage. Each soldier after the first only does 25% damage, but that means if he has 3 soldiers on one target, that's 750 damage each attack. And although we do have to take magic resistance into account, he does have the Void Staff as well as quite a bit of magic penetration in his masteries and runes. With Maokai, Rumble, and Nidalee all poking in onto this Dragon Pit, it's actually going to be really hard to take it. But what they want to do is get this 5-on-5 fight, which is why Cassiopeia comes in from the side and tries to throw in her poisons as Leona looks for an opportunity to go in. Faker is standing all the way over the wall, but he can jump in at any time using that E, and it looks like he's going to do that soon as the Solar Flare lands. Faker actually grabs the kill onto Maokai, then jumps over the wall onto the Ahri and grabs the double kill. He's now turns his attention over to Rumble, who's coming out of his vulnerability soon. The triple kill for Faker. He continues on, though, over this wall, using his Q to try and get as far as possible. Is this a potential penta? He wants to go in. Nidalee jumps in, and he grabs the quadra kill. No! Not enough time. Only a shutdown onto this Nidalee. And Ezreal's going to get away. But still, such amazing mobility and damage in this team fight. Faker continues to go in, gets the ace and the unofficial pentakill. Already the Baron begins, and look at that Faker damage just consistently rolling through, annihilating the Baron and grabbing the Baron for himself, actually. He's able to take the kill onto Ahri too. Lee Sin and Graves get kills of their own, and that is a 4-4-0 and the Baron, and likely the game here. They're going to be able to quickly dismantle this base. Nidalee doing her best to poke from the back. Not able to single-handedly carry this. And that is Faker grabbing the final kill. No, he's not able to get it. Instead, he suicides into the well as the Nexus goes down 22 to 12, 74 to 57k at 41 minutes and 24 seconds. Faker's team has won the game in Korean solo queue. Thank you all for watching. This was a test run and I had a lot of fun with it. Please tell me what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, so I can work on it next time. And also make sure to check out my Faker Azir gameplay, where I do my best to emulate what he did in this game along with my friends. It's going to be a lot more fun, a lot more lighthearted, and I'm definitely no pro, but I'd still love for you guys to check it out. See you next time.